Hello everyone, my name is Subomi Plumptre and I'm the CEO of Volition Cap, a game-changing SEC-licensed asset management company in Africa. Now, what am I trying to do with this presentation? It's pretty simple. So first, I want to highlight wealth gaps between Africans in the diaspora and other groups. I will provide a guide for creating generational wealth within a reduced time frame. And finally, I'll prefer a wealth creation model that's deeply rooted in cooperation and global investment. So let's go. Who am I? In summary, I'm most proud of having created 4 companies across 3 countries. In Africa, I've been named one of 100 change makers, and I've been nominated by the US State Department as one of 100 social entrepreneurs to be part of the African Descendants Social Entrepreneurship Network. So I think I am qualified to speak about Africans as well as Africans in the diaspora. I've worked across 2 continents, Africa and North America, as well as in, doing business in several other countries around the world. My background is in strategy and communications, and I'm now a SEC-licensed fund manager running an asset management company. So I will be speaking to you out of my wealth of experience across different industries and different countries. Now, what's your plan? When I do investment planning sessions for people, whether individuals or families or businesses, I always start by asking, why do you want to create wealth? Is it for your kids' education? Is it to start a business? You're trying to build a nest egg so that you can, leave your job at some point and start an enterprise? Are you creating wealth because you just want choice? You want to be able to work when you want to, not because you have to. For some of you, you want to retire early and travel the world. And for people like me, I just want to find enough time to sleep. So your reasons may be varied, for creating wealth. But the first thing you need to identify, why do you want to create wealth? You may just want to give it away. You may have philanthropic dreams. There's nothing wrong with that. You may just want to escape poverty. You may just want to pop champagne in the club, whatever it is. Define your reason for creating wealth because it will guide you along the way. Now, if you're a Black person listening to this presentation, if you're an African in the diaspora, the odds are already stacked against you. You need to create wealth 7 to 10 times faster than other groups to close wealth gaps. What are these wealth gaps? It's the disparity of cumulative assets across races and ethnicities. It's the disparity that has resulted from differences in income and the historical accumulation of assets across generations. Why the hurry? The next generation needs you. Black tax is real. The number of dependents that are being taken care of by Africans in diaspora, I'm going to show you the statistics, is significant. The historical discrimination, the subtle racism, ethnic profiling, the odds are already stacked against you. There's a glass ceiling whether you recognize it or not, but you can break and shatter and exceed that glass ceiling. And I'm going to explain how. Now, if you look at wealth inequality across different groups, you'll find that the average net worth of a white family in 2016 in the US was $171,000, but the average net worth of a Black family was $17,000, about a 1 to 10 disparity. Only 3.6% of the entire population comprises Black families that are in the top 10% of the income bracket. If we even correct for racism, if we correct for discrimination, there will still be a 3-to-1 disparity in the wealth gap. So it means there's more to creating wealth than just eliminating issues of discrimination and race, which are real, which are odds that are incredibly stacked against you. But even if we eliminate it, the research shows there will still be a 3-to-1 gap because there are things that that diasporans do not know, that other groups, other ethnicities know about creating wealth. And that's what I'm going to be discussing today. Whether you're from the US or the UK or Canada, the data is real. And you can find this data in the research white paper that Volition Cap has created. If you go to Volition Cap /white paper, you're going to find all of this data in that document. Now, if we look at just, black tax, it's very real. When you look at the top emigration countries in the world, people that are fleeing their countries of origin, Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Somalia, and then when you look at the top destination countries, Australia, France, UK, and US, but let's look at how many people depend on Africans in diaspora, even when they get to those destination countries. Burkina Faso, the age dependency ratio is 88. In Nigeria, the age dependency ratio is 83. In Zimbabwe, the age dependency ratio is 75. Black tax is real. And age dependency ratio is simply the ratio of younger dependents to the working age population. A lot of you send remittances back home. There are a lot of people that are depending on your source of income. That's one of the reasons why Africans in diaspora need to create wealth 7 to 10 times faster. If you look at the developed countries, age dependency ratio 21, 28, 29. Black tax is real. Now let's move on. Wealth and risk are proportional. A lot of times people don't realize that to create wealth, there needs to be a measure of risk. But it's not everyone that is going to be a day trader in stocks. It's not everyone that is going to be provide venture funding. It's not everyone that is going to become a cryptocurrency day trader. These are the high risk wealth assets or asset classes that can create wealth 7 to 10 times faster. So what do? If you don't have the time for day trading, if you don't have the risk profile, you're not going to squander your children's education on cryptocurrency. So what do? Now, the research shows that a lot of times Africans in diaspora invest in real estate. That's typically their default. However, it's been proven that to create wealth at a certain rate, there are certain asset classes that can help you create that wealth, while real estate becomes a store of generational wealth. For a lot of other ethnicities, real estate is not the primary creator of wealth. Rather, it's the way they protect and keep that wealth so they can pass it on to the next generation and so they can reduce their tax burden. But for Black people and Africans in diaspora, immediately we make money, the first thing we do is go and buy a house. Other ethnicities don't do that. They know the wealth is not in real estate, but the protection and the transfer of wealth to the next generation is in real estate. So a lot of times, because Africans in diaspora, because it takes skill to make money in real estate. At that point, you're going into entrepreneurship. When you begin to flip houses, you begin to create Airbnb. That's not real estate, that is entrepreneurship. Let's differentiate between real estate as an investment and real estate as a business. They're two completely different things. One is an investment and a store of value. The other is a business and a day job or a side hustle. Another thing, the research shows, and again, I'm referencing our white paper, the research shows that a lot of people think Black people have a high percentage of debt, D-E-B-T. However, the research shows that other ethnicities actually have higher levels of debt than Africans in diaspora. And that's because they understand how to use leverage. They use other people's money to create wealth. The debt is used responsibly. The debt is used for investment. The debt is used for entrepreneurship. So if you've been programmed that there's something wrong with debt, the challenge is that you don't use debt for frivolities. You don't use debt to fund a lifestyle. You use debt as leverage for responsible investing. So if you want to create wealth at a rate of 7 to 10 times faster, there's a certain level of risk you need to take on, and I'll explain how to do it in a responsible and relatively balanced manner. Because like I said, it's not everyone that is going to become a risky day trader or invest in venture funding. But how can you take advantage of assets that can help you create wealth fast, while at the same time staying true to your personal risk profile? I'm going to talk about this as we go on. Now, I want to quickly explain that there's a difference between investing and entrepreneurship. Investing is exchanging capital for shared value. So, for example, you invest in an asset management company. That asset management company trades your capital for you, and then when you get a return, you pay the asset manager a share of that value, and that's usually called a management fee. That is investing. In investing, you are not necessarily the one doing the work. You can outsource the risk to someone else. You can outsource the expertise to someone else. Entrepreneurship, however, are those who do it themselves. If I'm a day trader, I am not just an investor. I have become an entrepreneur because I'm trading my time, I'm trading my capital, I'm trading my skill. If I flip houses for a living, I am an entrepreneur, not an investor. Let's not get it twisted. Anybody who spends a significant amount of time investing on their own, by the time you look at the share of your time, the share of your skill, if that activity is geared towards investing, then you are an entrepreneur, and that means you have the risk profile and the time and skill to create money on your own. However, not everyone can do that, which is why the people who become wealthy as day traders, the people who become wealthy flipping houses, go and check. They would have been successful in any other occupation because they are entrepreneurs by default. They're not just investing. So you need to be able to be clear. Are you going to invest, or do you want to become an entrepreneur? And to become an entrepreneur, you must have the risk profile of an entrepreneur. You must be able to have the skill. So you're the kind of person who will be mentored by a real estate professional. You will join an apprentice program. You will write your Series 65 SEC exams because you want to do investing yourself, and not everyone can do that. Honest and hardworking people have problems. And this is the problem they have. If you're a successful doctor, you're a successful nurse, a tech bro, you're an engineer, a lot of times you just want to face your work. You don't have the bandwidth to be thinking about what's the stock price, what's happening in the cryptocurrency markets. You really just want to go to work, earn a living, and just give that capital to someone responsible who can trade that capital for you. However, a lot of times the platforms that have been designed to help you invest that wealth, because they are retail platforms, they really may not give you anything significant for you to access certain deals. A lot of times, those are called hedge fund deals. A lot of times you need to have a minimum of $250,000 to access certain levels of deals. But look at it. You're an honest and hardworking person. You don't have the time to invest in yourself. You don't have the capital to participate in the high value deals. What do you do? That is the question I'm going to answer today. If you're a middle class person and you want to create wealth, I've already said it. First, you need an investment plan. You need a 5-year plan for creating wealth. It must be definite. It's not open-ended. You sit down with an investment professional, create a 5-year plan let them run the numbers. This is not advisory. You will open spreadsheets and you will run the numbers. How do I go from where I am to where I want to be in 5 years? 2, you need a community. One of the things we've done at Vizient Coup, which is a cooperative that was created by my company, Volition Cap, we brought together thousands of honest and hardworking people into one community. That community became an accredited investor according to the SEC definition of accredited investor, because we then controlled assets under management in excess of $30 million. Because of that, we could access high-value deals on behalf of our members. Our members didn't have to access those deals individually. We came together as a community. We came together as a group. We shared the cost of legal fees. We shared the cost of due diligence. So instead of a middle-class individual having to pay extreme costs for a lawyer, that cost was spread across thousands of people because we came together as one community. The cost of rigorous due diligence was spread across thousands of people. So each person paid a negligible fee. And what it meant was that when that accredited investor, the community, accessed high-level deals, everyone in the community benefited. Whether you brought $100 or $10 or $1,000, once we got the high-value deal, the returns were distributed to every single member based on the level of their contribution. That is how to create middle-class wealth. You cannot do it alone. You don't have the capital to do it alone. You don't have the skills to do it alone. That community hired a SEC-registered asset manager to manage its funds, and that's Volition Cap. So the skill requirement was met. In terms of balancing out people's risks, we created buckets. If you're low risk, participate in low risk funds. If you're medium risk, participate in medium risk funds. That is how to create communal wealth. You cannot do it alone. Come together as a community and let that community access high value deals for you under a professional umbrella. This is the solution we created at Volition Cap. Cooperatives and collective investment schemes for Africans and Africans in the diaspora. Remittance investing. Instead of sending money home as just gifts, send it into an investment plan that gives you a tax benefit. And then the returns from that investment can be used to meet your local needs back home. Whether it's paying for your parents' hospital bills, paying for tuition bills of your dependents, instead of just sending it back home, you're going to send it as a gift. Why don't you get a tax benefit from it? Why don't you invest it? And then the returns of that on that investment can meet the needs. That is the solution we created at Volition Cap. Global access. Many Africans in the diaspora have dual citizenship. It means you can not only invest in your country of residence, you can invest in other countries around the world simply because you have dual citizenship, and you can get a tax benefit for it. A lot of Africans in diaspora don't know this, but it's very possible, and that's the solution that Volition Cap has created on behalf of Africans in the diaspora. What are the rewards? If you're able to create wealth, your kid can have an Ivy League education. You can build a nest egg to start a business. You can grow USD income before you relocate. You can retire early and be financially free. Those are the benefits of creating wealth as a middle-class African in the diaspora. I'll leave you with our QR code if you want to get more information about us. Just scan this QR code or type the link directly, or you can send us an email at investmentmanager@volitioncap.com. We're here to help you create an investment plan. You can join our cooperative immediately. You can talk to us about remittance investing, but it's clear, to escape the poverty trap, to escape the glass ceiling, to generate wealth 7 to 10 times faster as an African in the diaspora, you need a community and you need a defined 5-year investment plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Subomi. This was really interesting. The fact that, one of the key things I think you said is that getting the right information is key to creating wealth, and that is not something you can do like in 2 seconds. You actually have to have a plan, and you need a community. I think those are like one of the things that I actually took out, that you need a community. You can't do it. Don't do life alone, because you really can't do it alone. So let me go to the Q&A and pick the questions I see there. So someone says, how does the African diaspora affect the economy of Africa?
Okay, the African diaspora, in terms of even just remittances, I think Kola talked about the statistics, over 90 billion in remittances to Africa. That money goes to paying education bills, it goes to paying health expenses, it goes to building houses and building other types of infrastructure in people's villages, in people's hometowns. Many Africans in diaspora are responsible for building hospitals in communities, building bridges in communities. All of that money is coming into Africa through Africans in diaspora. The amount of money that comes into Nigeria, for example, is 62% of the amount of money we make from oil. Remittances from Nigerians in diaspora make up 62% of the amount of money we make through oil. So that tells you the immense power of remittances.
Wow. Okay, thank you. The next question says, for those Africans with dual citizenship, will these investments be taxed under the global taxable income law?
So what we've created is a remittance investing program for Africans in the diaspora, because a lot of African countries have tax treaties with different countries in the diaspora. So if you're sending your money home as a remittance, it's not going to be double taxed, because remember, you're sending it as gifts, which can be classified as charitable contributions. So what we've developed is a program for Africans in the diaspora such that we're able to reduce your tax obligations simply because you're sending that money as a charitable gift to pay hospital bills, pay education expenses, and things like that. So I would encourage you, reach out to an investment manager at volitioncap.com. Let's explain how the process works and how you can get a reduced tax benefit from sending remittances home.
All right, I'll just ask one more question so that we can then move on to the next and round up because we are running late. Is the cooperative only for Africans in diaspora or open to Africans in Africa without dual citizenship?
Yes, it is. So the cooperative is open to all Africans as well as Africans in the diaspora. If you send us an email, we'll explain how we can onboard you as an African living in Africa.
All right, thank you so much, Subomi. So for more questions that are being put on the Q&A, Subomi will be responding to your questions. So just leave them there. Definitely you'll get answers to the questions. Thank you very, very, very much. We appreciate this session. It was really
My pleasure.
a mind-blowing one.